I like to call that a plant. This is a very simplified stick figure picture, but I'll just use it to make a couple basic points. I have colors tonight, so I'm going to use my colors. We've got leaves on most of our plants, right? The healthy plants have leaves on them. Most of the leaves are green. Most of what you can see on a plant is its green leaves. And what happens in the big green leaf, what seems to be the main thing going on, it's called photosynthesis, right? Everybody's familiar with that one? Photosynthesis. The basic recipe for photosynthesis is H2O, or water, plus CO2, which is carbon dioxide, plus sunlight. And the output is sugar and oxygen. Most people know that. This is what the plant designs itself to do, right? So this making of sugar thing is apparently really important. The interesting factoid for me is that a healthy plant, it doesn't matter whether it's a tree or a grass or a tuber, a healthy plant will take 60% plus or minus of the sugar and take it from the leaf and put it down the stem, through, out the root, and inject it into the soil. A healthy plant will take a majority of the sugar it manufactures and inject it into the soil. So the plant builds its whole body to collect sunlight to make sugar, and it takes most of the sugar and injects it into the soil. It's probably got a reason for it. You want to grant that one? Maybe nature's been doing this for a long time for a reason. Maybe there's a purpose. And if this seems to be what nature does, maybe it's a good idea for us to understand it and perhaps even try to work with it. All right? Nothing too revolutionary here except the implications of what I'm saying are, in some cases, cause of reanalysis. Okay, so why does the plant take all the sugar, inject it into the soil? And a lot of people here know the answer to that question.
Feed bacteria?
To feed bacteria and fungi and RKE and all kinds of people down there. I like to call them people. I like to call them the bottom of the food chain. A healthy plant will have, 10% of its surface area be root, and 90% of its surface area be this colonized, or not actually even root, be fungal, hyphae. It's got a beautiful symbiotic relationship. This is bacteria around the edges, then the fungi are all reaching out way beyond the root. Right? The purple is soil life. There's way more surface area of soil life in that soil than there is plant in a healthy plant. I like to think of this as a couple of different things. One, as our gut flora, because that's my understanding of what the role of those people down there is. People know when you're born how many organisms there are living between your mouth and your rear end in that alimentary canal. How many people are in there when you're born? 0. Right? There's nobody living between your mouth and your rear end when you're born. And that's a problem because you can't digest your food, only they can. So the first thing that comes out of the mother's breast before milk is called colostrum. And colostrum has one basic job, and that is to establish a community of people living inside your gut so you can digest food. Everybody knows about this? Most people would grant this point now. Perhaps it was a big deal 10 or 20 years ago, but I think it's pretty well accepted at this point. So my understanding is that a plant can't digest its food without its gut flora. Nothing complicated about it. It's basic, this is how they evolved. You could even argue that the gut flora actually evolved us to go out and get food for them, to feed them so they could reproduce, so they could spread across the land. If you want to think about it, kind of an interesting way because they were here first, right? They were here first, and you could say they actually evolved us to facilitate their distribution. It's really interesting. Anybody know about the George's Banks? Heard of George's Banks? It's the place out in the ocean that all the fishermen go. Right. From Newfoundland to New Jersey, all the fishermen leave their ports and drive their boats and park in the same spot. It's called George's Banks. And why do they go there? That's where all the fish are. Duh. If you were a fisherman and you could drive anywhere, where would you drive? To where the boats, to where the fish are. Right? And all the fish are right there. And the question is, why are all the fish right there? Because we have the environmental conditions for their food to exist, right? The phytoplankton that are the bottom of the food chain, that there's massive, massive quantities of that are eaten by everybody else, need sunlight and minerals, nutrients, and warmth to exist. And there's a spot there based on the flows of the water and the structure of the geology under the water where that occurs, where there's a lot of warmth and nutrition and sunlight. And so the bottom of the food chain lives, and so the second layer of the food chain lives, so the third tier of the food chain lives, and then finally the cod live, which is the 8th level or whoever else, right? And the more people there are at the bottom of the food chain, the more people there are at the top of the food chain. When the bottom collapses, the top collapses. And so my understanding is that the life in the soil is functionally the bottom of the food chain. And when we're growing healthy plants, if we want to grow big, strong, healthy, productive plants, we need to create an environment where the bottom of the food chain flourishes. So that's apparently a revolutionary concept, but the foundation of everything I'm going to be talking about here. So the real thing for me is to create a reality where the bottom of the food chain is flourishing, and the plant will flourish as a corollary of that.